Perfect. So what the set was, so if I start from the beginning, what highlights these kind of trades to me to help you is that we've had a breakdown on the daily. Now, just like if you remember the dollar SGD trade that we saw, where that's completely tanked and smashed all the targets out of the water. With this, we had that kind of reversal candle and a breakdown, so expected to see it come down further. Now, first of all, we'll always see the break and retest of the 1 hour, which is what I've discussed as being the kind of IBO, and this is where the dailies are pushed down, and then we got this retest here. This was the IBO, and we always run that to the 4 hour 50 as being a safe target. Now it can go lower, of course, but as a safe target, we always run to the 4 hour 50, and then I use the 4 hour 50, the CBO, the complete breakout, because the numbers, the CBOs actually break out more and continue their direction more often than the IBO does. None of them are, of course, 100%, but it's over 70% hit rate with the CBO and over 60 with the IBO. And then it did, of course, run down to the 4 hour 50, which it then did briefly retest, but broke properly, and then has now pulled back to kind of give a proper retest, and also got this kind of what was support, now resistance area, and also aligned with the fibs, which can be a very useful tool when we're thinking about the targets and also the entries and stop losses. Because like I mentioned, the stop should be above 618, so somewhere up here, because if it does break that, then it's likely it's just going to continue up. And if it doesn't, then we should run back down to the 20. So what that trade should look like is something like this. Get that was there. I think the daily 20 is actually around there. So you're looking at almost a 2 to 1, and 160 pips versus 256. So that's what we would expect to see kind of play out. If that can come a bit more. Let's say that daily 20 was around about there. And that then you let it run. So we did have some movement earlier in the day around the 5 minute. You can use the 5 minute for the entries if you're not confident with hitting it straight off on the 4 hour 50. Like we saw here, it broke. It did retest and it came back up, but it only came back up to the 50 and then continued down. The targets and the stop placements should still be the same, even if you take it in the 5 minute. You're just using the 5 minute for the entry. So hopefully that helps and makes sense. Or any questions on that at all?
No, it's fine.
Okay. I think Kevin's probably seen a lot more of those over the past year, but they do tend to play out more often than not. And the other thing we want to make sure is that a run has kind of ended. We can see on the daily that it has been overextended. There's been no kind of real pullback, so we had quite a lot of confidences in our favour. And definitely a worthwhile trade. Weekly looks just to be pushing back up, doing this pullback. But again, nice reversal candle. So as we see as well, equities kind of gaining a little bit of strength. We will see currencies get a little bit weaker. So it's always good to bear that in mind when building up your confluences as well. But there may be other factors you can kind of add to give you a good picture. But if you ever see anything like this, or you ever watch because this is a great trade because you can kind of let this run and not have to sort of rechecking your charts and going back on things. So just to further help you with how you place that, and then we've entered the trade here, and we've got our stop placement and our target. Now, to know that you're only going to be risking 1 or maximum 2%, you have to kind of calculate those lots to the pot size that you're using. Oh, sounds not playing very well with Kevin there. What I might do is I might just knock off the mics for you guys just so that I don't get any interference there. I'll just a few seconds. There we go. Can you guys both hear me okay? I'll just pop a note in just so we can see. Perfect, perfect. So just to further help with when you're placing this kind of trade, it's just important to remember that just because this looks, whatever it is, you don't want to be risking. Let's just say you're trading with a £1,000 account, and you could do £1 of pips. You could lose £10 is your 1% or £20 your 2%. You don't want to be doing a pound of pip. You don't want to be kind of being greedy. You want it to work to this. Your stop will give you what you can use pip size. Where it's saying it's 149 pips is the stop. Then you know that you can use 0.01 effectively. So then you're only giving up £15, but potentially making 26. Or that kind of lot size. It's all relative to your account size. But there is good pip calculators out there. You can use like babypips.com. That is completely free. But especially when learning, just make sure you're not giving away more than sort of 2% per trade, and then you're not going to sort of wipe out your pot in any hurry. There isn't much else it's in. I'll break down some of the others. And gold's just been very sideways. So oil is looking interesting. Look here, this 20 seems to be a really good floor. We had a bounce from it before. Only thing I don't like is that it gapped down today, and it's just hovered in these areas, and there hasn't been a kind of immediate retracement. But I think you could have an entry there with 50 pip stop, and as long as it doesn't gap down in the morning, we could be looking at a run back up to 22. As soon as we get a reversal, 22 is going to be the target. Let's look down on the lower time frame, see if there's any kind of signals. It just hasn't broken this 1 hour 20 yet. Get plenty of spikes here, so there's plenty of buys coming in at $20. Let's have a look on the 30 minute. Yeah, unfortunately it's just looking a bit bearish at the moment, but if you want it to be a little bit safer on any entries, you could run this once we've got that 5 minute 200 area in this kind of box, 20.6ish, as broken and retested. Then you could look to trade that. So once we see a break and retest either side of this box, we're going to get a good idea of direction. But $20 a barrel, hopefully we start seeing this push to the upside. But it really hasn't moved much since it's gapped down. So yeah, nothing to do right now. You could, if you felt might be a bit risky, you could take a long here, as I say, with a stop below here, and see what happens. But better to wait for a break if you want to be really risk averse. Otherwise, there isn't much else that has happened. The Dow managed to catch a few pips today. It's moved quite nicely. I had a 4-hourly trend line built in, which it originally was tested this early hours this morning, so I wasn't able to capitalise, but managed to catch the first 100 pips on a short on the 5 minute from this morning when we first tested the 200, and then caught some a nice long. I did give a trade back, so one of them kind of just made up for it. But this was the short from the 200 here. I managed to catch 100 pips. Could have left it. Could have ended up with a couple of 100 pips, but that's tricky. I was quite happy with the 100 pips. I had to take that. So left that one, and then did have a long running from here, which I sort of came out a loss here, which was 50 pips negative. Then I did retake the long at the bottom here, and I come out when I'd recovered and was in a bit of profit. And then I did get a second long, which was here for another 70 pips, which I could have left. I mean, I could have left this one. It was just because I was making up for a lost trade that I was conscious I wanted to just get that back banked and then come positive. And then I've just been a bit occupied this afternoon. Otherwise, could have bought this sort of re-entry. This one was a really good entry. We had this obvious resistance here, and then turn around and the support and gave us a nice reversal candle. So that would have been a good signal to go long. At the moment, we've got these undecisive candles, so it's trying to make us wind up. Likely we're going to push back down to 22,000, and then it may bounce or it may break. My trade for the morning would be to look for a long. If we retrace somewhat back to the 50 or the 200 EMA, I'll be looking to take a long off of there. If it lines up with some support and resistance and some even numbers, then it'll give me a good entry, and I'll try and post what I'm looking for before it happens. But this Dow really does move like crazy. I mean, this, I was showing you this earlier because this is where it caught me out. This whole move, which was like 200 odd pips, 820 to 620, 200 pips, actually happened within a blink of an eye. It shot down, and then it pulled back up and then carried on. Much as the candle filled that way when it was live, it initially shot down within 10 seconds, and then pushed back up and carried on back down. But yeah, it was a bit of a wild ride. As I say, it did initially catch me out. I came out with a loss there, and then recovered it, and then some, and then continued to the upside. So fortunately, I went back in the right way, and still looking for further longs. I'll continue breaking down these charts on the 4 hours. There's nothing really to look at on the daily, especially being Monday. What the question is? Yeah, sure. So on the 4 hour, what we did have was the retest of the 50 and a push up, and then it pushed up, and then it came back down again. This was the surprising move, to be honest. This is where I thought, this is lucky. This is why I took it short on the retest of the 200, because I thought maybe it is going to push below. And I was actually looking at one point for the trade-off, breaking below here, pushing back up to 21,000, and then taking it short, and potentially short all the way back down to the bottom. Because that could have played out very well, but we just found a lot of support here on this trend line and the 4 hour 20, and continuing to the upside. But it has been moving a hell of a lot of volatility in this today. So this will look like on the 1 hour. This was last week where this was initially tested, and where I got the idea from. This was obviously early morning. That would have been around the 4 hour area, and then we've got these pushes up on the 1 hour. So yeah, I mean, this should have pushed up in most cases, would have touched this, held above, and should have continued at that point. But it didn't. It went back the other way, came back down to the bottoms, and then decided to carry on. But getting a nice pullback now. Could be to here. I'll say this 22 level is going to be first to be touched. I mean, it's already got 50 pips since we mentioned it, and there it goes. 22,000 coming right in. I'll take this down to the 5 minutes now, so you can get an idea what will happen. I mean, what we should see is this tested properly. and then either a push back up or maybe it'll close below, and then we'll get a retest in continuation. We'll see how this plays out over the next few minutes. It's always good when we catch something live because I can try and kind of break it down as I'm seeing it, and you will often, 1 minute I might be thinking it's bearish and I'm back to being bullish, and this is the mental battle you have to have with yourself when you're about to place a trade, is trying to get it right and sort of understand the markets and how it moves. And can be fun, and it can be traumatizing sometimes. Let's see. So going back to my 2 minutes left this candle, so very likely just been pulling back up, collecting orders and pushed back down. So over the next minute we'll quickly have a look at the Aussies, see if there's anything that's I mean, this is kind of interesting, but it didn't really reverse properly. It hasn't really tested it properly, so can't say it looks like I want to take that long right now. And I must admit, I don't tend to trade the euro dollar, which doesn't play very well my strategies for some reason. Euro Aussie, seeing a bit of support, 78,500. Sort of wiki area, but so pound dollar's looking interesting. This is looking good for the shorts. Indecisive, and now choosing to push to the downside. So let's have a look on the 1 hour here. Yeah, I mean, we're looking good here. Looks a little bit similar to the Dow actually. When we have this kind of resistance, turn support, turned around, but very likely head back down to this 1 hour 50. And if we do get a break and retest at the 50, then we're going to have a good trade to the 4 hour 50, which is at 1.21. So could be a good trade coming up. Bear in mind this 1.23 dead is going to act as some resist. So I want to see a small push back up beforehand, but we're on the daily 20, above the daily 20. You got to make sure across all time frames everything lines up. It will give you the most opportunities. If there's anything that doesn't quite tie up, that's when you're going to see that you get taken out. All the pounds are going to be looking a bit similar. The pound Aussie plays really well to just support resistance. I mean, look here. 2.01 odds. We've got the body's there, coming down to it and pushing back up. Now broken below. I could expect 1.99 odd. Again, this kind of 4 hour 50 to come into play. It does tend to play to Australia. Pound yen is at a nice area 133.5, but I just see it coming further to the downside. Much as I'd be interested to take along here, I do think we are going to get a little bit of a better price. We have got plenty of resistance here. I might be wrong, it might turn around and continue to the outside, but gut tells me, 132.5, that would be a much nicer long entry, because then we could have pushed down through the 50 and we could get a 50 pip run up to 3,300. So really decide it's going to carry on going and push up this 150, then 132. 132 looks good, pushed up from that before. You can have a quick look at this down. Yeah, hovering back around at 22,000. So Let's see. 22,006. 6 pips off. But you know, you could have looked to just take a long off of that on a win, bank 50 pips, but you know, you don't know. I'd like to see this tested properly and get some kind of a little, you know, board turnaround like this at this area. That would give us idea for another long. Let's get back to the dollars. All that is doing its thing. So dollar looking weak, looking good for pulling back up towards the 20s and the 50s. We do get a 4-hour 50 test, especially a nice round number. This is going to look really good for further shorts. See where the daily 20 is. Yes, it's above. So this is a bit of an odd play, and this daily is actually looking like a bit of a reversal candle. So this, as I say, is why it's really good to look across all the different time frames. Because if I just looked at 4 hour, I'd be thinking, do you know what? I'm going to let this push up a bit more, and I'm going to short it. But actually, by looking at the daily, I can see that we could be turning around tomorrow. We're probably going to blast back through this. So therefore, it avoids the short idea. Not to say that it won't play out, but you know, I've got confidence against it, so why would I want to force it? You know, it played out very nicely to the broken wedge that we highlighted before. So yeah, likely that'll just carry on. We're back at the 4-hour 50 on dollar CAD here. So you know, if you didn't get in, is a potentially good opportunity to get in now. Chop. RSGD is running away. Never provided that 4-hour retest though. Never gave us that entry. There's nothing in New Zealand dollars. Had a look earlier. Yeah, I think the dollar CAD's the best bet. Of course, you know, I'm just trying to scalp away on the Dow. But any question, anything you want me to go back over? Is there anything that either of you guys have seen that you want me to break down, or any question on what we've just looked at you want me to revisit?
Not for me.
Not for me.
I haven't really been been watching the oil. I'm interested in that, see what happens. But also,
yeah, I mean, look, we're down to 1971 now. It's broken below, so this could be going lower. What's the question we've got here? Just loading this up. So just because we're at the entry now, I'm just going to jump back to the CAD. Exactly as sort of mentioned earlier, you want to take the short. So with these trades, it's the retest candles for what we're seeing now, rather than the breakdown. We will just take the entry at this point, so where we are now. We are going to be looking at take the short trade as it is, with your stops above the 618, which is sort of here. If you stop at 1.43201, you're actually going to be precise with it, and that's going to be far enough away. I mean, if you wanted to do this or something, and yeah, it's 40. Some issues here. I'm just gonna leave it off again. And then you your entries in, you've got your stop placement, and your target is the daily 20, which is around the lows of this month. I'd say the safer entry, if you wish, is the 5-minute break and retest as this starts pulling back down. What you can do, a way to trade it, I mean, we've had this nice reversal candle in 5 minutes, so you could do your entry here when it sort of breaks down, retest, and put your stops above. Okay, I've just tried changing the mode. Can you hear me now and see me okay? Perfect. So we'll try again. The safest entry, if you wish, off of the 5 minutes is the break and retest, and then we want to see it run down to that daily 20 or the recent lows. If you wanted to play extra safe and run really tight, you can enter on the retest and then put your stops above the recent highs, so maybe 1.42 dead, nice round number. Otherwise, you can just enter around the area of the EMA and then just get your stop in, of the thing to be around here about 1.43200, and then the target is around here, so have a nice round number 139,500. I mean, technology. I wonder whether there's just a lot more of these things, and so it's more bandwidth or something. Yeah. So I'll do it onto the 5 unit so that you've got it for a sec, because the 4-hour one I put on there earlier is exactly the same. Let me get the tips in. Just get this in. Something like that. You can run it this way. Rosebud. This is what we want to see. So let's just get this here. Okay, just go load up. So what's that one? I can get in the group. It's not loading. I've got it saved on my clipboard there, so I'll get that over momentarily. But if I want to look for that break and retest at the top of it, and if I want to keep it safe, then that's where we want those stops. Yeah, no worries. Thanks, Kevin. You take care. Safe trip back home. Catch you tomorrow. See, Dale, we finally got that. We got that touch on the Dale that we wanted, and it's kind of run away without us. But yeah, I mean, I expect to see. We could see this breakdown further. That'll be my trade for the morning. We'll be looking for potential down longs. No, you're very welcome. Living technology, it's just one of those things. But other than that, I think the dollar CAD is the best potential trade at the moment. Nothing else really showing of interest at dollar CAD, and just keep an eye on anything else. But if you do see anything, or you're curious about anything, just pop it in the group. Chuck it in the group, and we can review it together, or send it to me directly if you prefer. Whatever the case may be. And try and catch some pips. I don't know what's going on with this at the moment. If you can see and hear me, it keeps freezing. No worries, Marge. You take care. I appreciate your time, and catch you all tomorrow. All the best, guys.